Sound is on.
Camera's on.
Right. Scene 1, shot 1, take 1. And 3, 2, 1, act. Are you still seeing things?
Every time I close my eyes, every time I stop, you don't know you're broken until the quiet gets loud, until the moments between breaths feel heavier than the breaths themselves. That's the thing they don't tell you about trauma. It doesn't shout. It whispers.
I have concerns, Darren. You've been deployed for 24 months now. No leave, no respite, nothing. You've seen more than others can withstand. And last time we spoke, you had acknowledged your violent urges. Have you left your ghosts on the battlefield? Or are they still following you home?
I've witnessed things. The visions they've been carved into my mind like scars. They won't leave me, they won't release me. Every day, the echoes grow louder, rising like a storm. The voices. They're not whispers, they're screaming. Keep telling me about this destiny of blood. And my hand needs to be red. They keep telling me my destiny is my hand to be covered in red.
patient of mine once told me, you don't really know you're broken until the quiet gets loud. Until the moments between breaths feels heavier than the breaths themselves. That's what they don't tell you about trauma. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And eventually, you hear it everywhere. In the dark, in the silence, in the spaces where you used to feel safe. So here I am, driving into the Highlands of Scotland, into a landscape older than memory. I keep telling myself I'm here for research. Old crofts, forgotten settlements, the rubble of the Highland Clearances. Particular glen, rumour has it, it was made up of some kind of satanic cult, a group of cannibals who not only fed off the land, but passerbys and strangers too. Maybe I'll write a book, maybe I won't. After what I saw, after what I did, what happened to Darren, I need this distraction. You don't really know you're broken until the quiet gets loud. Until the moments between breaths feels heavier than the breaths themselves. That's what they don't tell you about trauma. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And eventually, you hear it everywhere. In the dark, in the silence, in the spaces where you used to feel safe. Diary of Derek McKinnon, crofter, Clachnacolly Glen, 1787. Must be a friendly local trying to help me out. 4th of January. Just received a mysterious book dropped at the front door. Looking at it, I reckon this journal is definitely from the right time period. Late 1700s. Well preserved, to be fair. Obviously looked after, cared for. It's empty. Full of blank pages. Why would anyone give me a book full of blank pages? Why would they give me a blank book? Have you left your ghosts on the battlefield? Or are they still following you home? Very strange. I guess. Wait, there is something written here. 4th day of January, 1787. It was as I feared. The others in the village are as corrupt as I first believed. They bury their sins under the creeping moss and the winter storms. But yet, I still know their dark deeds. It is not the dread of their actions that sets my hand trembling as I write. I dare not gaze long from my window, lest my eyes fall upon the very thing I fear most. This morning, I heard a strange whistling across the glen, music to my ears that faded quickly. I must always remember, when the moon bleeds its pale light across the hills, when the crows fall silent, when the very air seems to draw breath from beneath the heathered mire, beware the red hand. Stops there. Of course, there are stories about the glen. Darren used to talk about it all the time.
In the shadows, things don't just move, they crawl towards you. The glen has a pulse, and it quickens when you enter. The heathered mire breathes through the earth like a buried beast, and the lyre always watches.
I stand before what may be the most untouched croft in all of Clachnacolly Glen. A relic spared, it seemed, by little more than stubborn stone and the mercy of the hills. The roof is long gone to wind and winter, and all that remains is one wall, which bears the scars of 100 storms. Yet, this place endures, holding fast to its secrets. Strange though. On one of the stones I found a carving, weathered but deliberate. Not the idle mark of a shepherd's knife. It's not graffiti. It's the very phrase recorded in McKinnon's diary. When the moon bleeds its pale light across the hills.
Its pale light across the hills. When the crows fall silent. When the very air seems to draw breath from beneath the heathered mire. Beware the red hand.
Well, the archives are not in the best condition, and God help you trying to find something up there, but the records do go back to the 1700s. It's the big key on there. Watch the lock, can be a little bit sticky.
Nothing of interest up there. Just just lies, untruths, and dark secrets.
Just ignore him. Town drunk.
I haven't had a drink since 1986.
Yeah. It can be a bit cold up there, and creepy, and full of chairs.
And Christmas decorations.
And bats.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure it'll be very useful. Thanks. So, say I was actually up at the crofts, and it appears someone's defaced them. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, no, that can't be possible. Those ruins haven't seen a human hand in 100 years.
No, nobody goes up there. Even the bairns stay away. And the adults have more sense. No, nobody goes into that glen. The wind can chill you to the bone.
When the moon's pale light shines across the glen.
When the crows fall silent, when the very air seems to draw breath from beneath the heathered mire, beware the red hand. Worst to every bairn in the village.
That's just a little local folklore. It refers to the butcher at Heather Mire. He killed a lot of people around here. Whole village, so they say.
Why?
Because he had an evil heart, man. An evil heart.
Yeah, people around here, we just don't go near those crofts. We just don't.
And why is that? Because they're haunted?
Well, partially, but principally because they're boring. I'm afraid that people around here don't have the same interests in ancient things that you do, young son.
Perhaps. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Okay. Be seeing you. Don't you think you just went a little over the top with that creepy town drunk shtick?
Oh, please, calm yourself, young man, calm yourself. I didn't just play the creepy old drunk. I elevated him. The audience were thrilled. People were enthralled. He was thoroughly creeped out. No, mission accomplished. He was thoroughly creeped out. Isn't that what you were looking for, darling?
Maybe.
Let the window blow. take you there, for you don't wanna be where there's no sun. You don't want to be where there's a man with a gun.
Hello? Who's there? January 7th. I can't explain what happened to me last night. Maybe it was all in my head, or I'm unwell or ill, or hell. Was Scrooge right? Was this a piece of undigested beef? Crumb of cheese? More gravy than grave about this situation? I don't know. What's happening to me? What's happening to me? I swear, when I first got this book it was empty. And now, each time I open it, there's something new inside. The thing I witnessed cannot be spoken of with tongue of man or explained by the reason of God. The soldier of shadows stood there, just beyond the trembling circle of my lantern's glow, his gaze fixed upon me. Then without warning he surged forward and vanished from my sight. Yet I know, beyond all certainty, that he is not gone. Storm's coming. The 7th day of January. I awoke this morning to the rumble of a storm gathering its strength down the glen. As I set out upon my morning walk to fetch water from the well, my steps brought me to a lone stone, half buried and unremarkable amidst the many scattered across the glen. Yet, though it seemed but a common rock, I felt an irresistible compulsion to dig at its base. My fingers broke through the frost and soil, and there, hidden from all eyes, I unearthed a small medal, battered by time, yet still carrying the echo of its maker's hand. It's a relic of a war fought upon this very glen, a fragment of blood and valour left to lie forgotten. There's nothing else after that. I swear, I did see something. I can't explain it. I don't know what it was, but I swear, that damn book, new pages keep being written. I don't know how to explain that. Swear I keep hearing things. Voices, whispers. And those markings on the croft, they'd been there for years. A warning passed through time, or I'm not alone anymore. Darren used to speak about things in the glen. He used to talk about seeing things.
When the moon bleeds its pale light across the hills, when the crows fall silent, when the very air draws breath from beneath the heathered mire, and the lyark always watches.
I don't know.
The liar sees you!
Day 8th of January. Before the sun had cast its pale light upon the frost, I made my way to the town hall wherein its draughty and dim light, the wise woman of the glen entered, offering me a drink to soothe my troubled mind.
Hey, you're Darren's friend, right? Terrible what happened to him. Absolutely terrible. Faye, you look like you could do with a hot chocolate. Will I go and get one?
Maybe later. I'm here looking at the history of the old crofts up in the glen. Terrible story. Of course, the history books blame it on the clearances.
Oh, no. That's just what we tell the children. And some historians, clearly. The butcher of the Heather Mire. The story goes that many people were slaughtered.
Countless souls lost to the earth, and the only one to emerge from the slaughter was the butcher himself. Do you know what was the butcher Derek McKinnon?
Aye, that's him. He was a soldier that couldn't stop being a soldier. Even when there wasn't a fight to be had, he was having one.
Why did he do it?
Why does anybody commit such horrible acts?
What happened to Derek McKinnon?
Driven mad by guilt. Or perhaps by the glen itself. Who knows? All we know is he disappeared into the mists of time.
I have his diary. I have his journal. It speaks about him seeing something, being followed by something.
Yeah. The lie erg.
Yes, that's it. Darren used to speak about this the whole time. I've never heard of it. What is it?
It's best that you return later this evening when the village is asleep, so that nobody can overhear us. I'll tell you then.
So I'll come back later.
Aye, that would be best.
Okay, I'll come back later.
Hi, it's me. It's time we all meet. The Lyerg is a dark, deadly spirit of the Highlands.
A silent presence that haunts the moors and glens, dressed in military uniforms of various eras and ages.
A ghost?
It is no ordinary ghost. It's a hunter of men, testing the spirit are those who dare to walk the glen alone.
It's a spirit who haunts places where the earth itself has been soaked with blood and sorrow.
Some tales say it's bound to the curse of the Red Hand, appearing whenever vengeance and death linger in the land.
Encountering it is to court fate itself. Few live to tell the tale.
That is why we all know to stay away from the glen, the crofts and heathered mires.
You have a troubled past. A darkness within you.
I was a frontline RAF psychologist, specialising in troops coming home with PTSD.
And that is why it has marked you. The Lie Erg has marked you.
Like it did to Derek McKinnon. So, was Derek McKinnon the Lie Erg?
Derek McKinnon was a mass murderer. He took it upon himself to kill our ancestors in cold blood.
In his 1787 diary, he mentions the old village. He refers to it full of evil. He calls them cannibals.
Why would you say such a horrible thing?
Sorry, it's just his diary was dropped at the house 3 days ago, and it was blank. But inside of it, he talks about the village being evil. Derek McKinnon talks about the village being evil and how he's compelled to destroy that evil.
That makes no sense. The diary is blank.
It was. But every time I look back at it again, it's got more written in it. I can't explain it. I mean, I presume the diary was delivered by a local.
No, it was delivered from 1787.
What?
The diary is merely a connection to the past, a link between then and now. The Lie Erg is anchored in both centuries. It creates a witness then and now. Derek McKinnon in the past and you now.
Why me? I don't share anything with him. Derek McKinnon was a murderer.
And are you sure you aren't one too?
What?
We know what happened to Darren. We know what really happened to him.
What are you talking about?
The Lie Erg knows you killed Darren.
Hear me now, mortal. I have watched thee. I have seen the shadow deed thou would hide. I witnessed the moment thy companion's blood touched thy hands. I watched as your guilt seeped into the heathered mire, and with it summoned me back. Not as punishment, not as the death bringer, but as witness.
Well, was that a bit much, do you think?
Oh no, he needs to be frightened. We know what he did to Darren. He is a horrible killer. We need him to be scared. Scared people make mistakes. And it's those mistakes that will bring him to justice.
Very devious.
Not devious, my dear. Necessary.
I had to kill Darren. I had no choice.
His evil was unbridled, absolute. Hadst thou not stayed his hand, his fury would have spilled unto many more souls. Thou acted not from wrath, but from a desperate mercy.
Are you still seeing things?
Every time I close my eyes, every time I stop, you don't know you're broken until the quiet gets loud, until the moments between breaths feel heavier than the breaths themselves. That's the thing they don't tell you about trauma. It doesn't shout. It whispers.
I have concerns, Darren. You've been deployed for 24 months now. No leave, no respite, nothing. You've seen more than others can withstand. And last time we spoke, you had acknowledged your violent urges.
I'm fine.
Have you left your ghosts on the battlefield? Or are they still following you home? You can tell me, Darren. You can trust me, you can tell me.
The voices. They're not whispers, they're screaming. Keep telling me about this destiny of blood. And my hand needs to be red. They keep telling me my destiny is my hand to be covered in red.
And have you fulfilled that destiny?
Through my last deployment, just outside the camp. The next two, London, when I came back from that deployment. The next, closer to here, just to glide over. The dog walker was just driving by and
do you have a desire to use it again?
And now thy guilt hangs upon thee heavier than the smith's own iron. Thus is the mantle laid upon thee, the soldier of shadow, the soldier from beneath the heathered mire. A spirit bound to this glen for all thy days, tethered to justice, wandering between the living and the dead, the past and the present. The only path to loosen thy madness is to accept thy fate.
I thought I did rather well, actually. Although, why did you pick such an obscure piece of folklore? I'd never actually heard of this Lie-erg until you handed me the script.
It was Darren. It was his favourite story. We used to sit out in the glen and he would tell us a tale all the time about the Lyard.
When the moon bleeds its pale light across the hills, when the crows fall silent, when the very air draws breath from beneath the heathered mire, and the Lyark always watches.
It just seemed so fitting to use Darren's own ghost story to bring his killer to justice.
Yes, well, that's it. I must be off. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've got an audition for a role in Basingstoke next week. The role of a 19th century drunken sailor. Not that I'm typecast or anything.
Just one thing. I'm a bit confused. I told you to give him a blank diary, not one that was written in.
I left the book you bought online at his front door, so if it was a blank book you bought, that's what I left.
I think my ad-lib about the diary being a link across time was quite inspired, don't you think?
That was inspirational, and it was a great piece of acting. Perhaps you should audition for the 19th century drunken sailor.
But the journal was empty. So why does he say it's full of writing now? And why does he say the old village was full of cannibals?
Well, there is some truth to that.
I spoke to Derek McKinnon. A troubled soul he was, scarred by the spectres of war and vengeance.
He was a murderer.
The village was a cult of sorts. Facing eviction during the Highland Clearances, they resorted to some unpleasant acts of extreme violence.
The glen harboured its own wickedness, but he was not that darkness. 'Twas the village, men who feasted upon their own, cannibals gnawed by hunger and sin.
They murdered passers-by, shepherds on the moors. They say that Derek McKinnon carried out his murders in order to protect the next glen over.
They needed stopping, and Derek agreed to bear that curse.
He killed them for the greater good. As I had to do with Darren.
I can't stop what's coming. I won't stop killing. I will keep killing and kill more. I can't stop myself. But you, you can. I can face the darkness without a mask. Maybe you can't.
He killed them for the greater good. As I had to do with Darren.
I know. And now, to unshackle thy soul from the weight of guilt, thou must become me.
Darren didn't deserve to die. He fought for his country. He didn't deserve to be murdered in the very glen that he called his home. Justice for Darren.
Justice for Darren.
I now wander the cold glen, the stain of blood upon my hand, my soul heavy with a guilt I cannot shed. The curse of this hand has dealt such damage, and my soul is condemned, eternal, wandering this glen. The wind hissing through the heather like some dying thing. The stain of blood clings to my hand. It is part of me, and it does not wash away. My soul hangs heavy, burdened by a guilt no prayer nor priest could ever loosen. Each heartbeat and breath is a reminder that I have chosen this existence. Eternity stretches before me. And perhaps in all that time, I can forgive myself, can accept my sin.
You don't really know you're broken until the quiet gets loud, until the moments between breaths feel heavier than the breaths themselves. That's the thing they don't tell you about trauma.
Justice for Darren.
That's what they don't tell you about trauma. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And eventually, you hear it everywhere. In the dark, in the silence, in the spaces where you used to feel safe. When the moon bleeds its pale light across the hills, when the crows fall silent, when the very air seems to draw breath from beneath the heathered mire, thus appears the Red Hand.
Oh, fly, don't stay. Spread your wings, let the wind of hope take you there, for you don't